Hey guys, Luna here, and welcome back to Friendsim 2. Last we left off, we managed to get through the revolution of the first act. So let's get right into it, shall we? Continue on to the next volume. So in Act 2, there are content warnings for depiction and discussion of state institutionalized violence. Route has actions which aimed at player discretion is advised. You sink your seat and take in your surroundings as a small transport ship you're currently on leaves for the port of Galax Space Yacht. Which there's also notifications. It's probably the most stressful weekend I've ever had. Why not talk to your Marley about it? Yeah, good idea. We just arrived back on Alternia, but this is the first time you really had to relax since you returned. No weddings to attend, no dead bodies to discover, no tryouts to legislate, just you, the world engines, and the three good friends relaxing in their own seats. However, you do still have a mission to help your friends survive the Empire. And as much as you want to lie down and rest, you think it's only a good idea to chat with your friends for a bit, if only to scope out the general mood. I want to talk to Tezia and Silsa. I always like them. You walk to the other side of the room to find Tezra and Silsa sitting together. Tezra has his head on Silsa's shoulder, their fingers intertwined in their laps. Silsa seems to have death grip on Tezra's hand, but she doesn't seem to mind. Silsa immediately perks up when she sees you coming.
Well, if it isn't the newest and best legislacerator in the Alternian Empire.
You? You point to yourself. You don't know about that. You just got put some puzzle pieces together.
Nonsense. I couldn't have done a better job myself.
You couldn't have done a better job yourself because it's not your department. Thanks for figuring that out back there, though. You really helped me out. In more way than one.
Oh, of course. You just want to help out. That's what you're here to do. To be helpful. Speaking about being helpful, ask about whether or not the two of them have thought about, you're also a very helpful offer you mentioned earlier.
The alternate universe thing?
Yep. You beam up at the two of them, bouncing on your ears a bit.
We're not...
Oh, Zizi, I think we should consider it. Can you imagine? We'd be living in a place where nobody is breathing down our necks. No more random hive stem drone checks. No more threat of death for not filling our work quotas. No more having our online data tracked.
Well, the last one still definitely happens in the other timeline, though it's more so you can get eerily specific targeted ads.
Well, that still sounds better than the knife that's hanging over our throats now.
Stills, you can't be serious.
Why wouldn't I be? I'm surprised you're not more excited about the prospect of leaving.
We have things to do. People we can't leave. You're not really gonna abandon Tagora like that, are you? I'll be right back.
Tessa takes her palm husk out of her pocket and starts furiously typing. She moves a couple seats away, completely shutting the two of you out.
I'm so sorry you had to see that. I don't know what's gotten into her.
That's fine, Silsa.
I'm sure she'll be back soon. Anyway, how are you holding up after the trial? What's on your mind?
About her job. You remember Tessa saying about Silsa not being a legislature. You ask her what she does then.
I'm an order terrorizer, of course. I probably could have gone down the legislacerator track if I wanted to, but it can be so unpredictable. Order terrorizing is much more consistent.
What does auto-terrorizing mean, though?
Oh, of course. Why should I assume you already know? We handle the internal affairs of Legis Corpus. Presenting elaborate show trials isn't easy, and if the other branches are left to have free reign, the delicate balance of organization goes out the window. Half my job is just convincing the showmasters to scale back on their special effects. That's how I started getting really close with Tagora, actually. I had to talk him down from flooding the entire courtroom and filling it with sharks. He was insistent that it was the only animal execution he could do for the crime of impersonating a sea dweller.
That's intense and, yeah, probably really messy.
Oh, tell me about it. The amount of paperwork to properly get even one shark shipped to the Justitia is ridiculous, let alone a room full of them. Aside from wrangling the showmasters, it's really mostly paperwork. It's not interesting, of course, but it's predictable, and that's all I can ask for.
Well, what about Tizris? Yeah, you ask if Tizris has seemed more on edge lately, or if this is just how she is now.
Just how she... No, of course not. You just popped in on us during a stressful situation.
I'm not that surprised. She seems so resistant to your plan, though.
I do get where she's coming from. She's got her Moirail, Daria. Do you know her?
Of course you know. You're the one who brought the two of them together.
Oh, such a good matchmaker. Maybe you can work your magic and get me a Moirail. But I can't blame Zizi for her reaction. It's already so hard to be separated from the ones you love through Ascension. Being separated across dimensions would be even harder. We're so lucky that we were both assigned to the Justitia. I can't imagine what it would be like if we had been split up for good.
Wait, the institution isn't just where all teals are sent when they reach adulthood?
Of course not! Can you imagine one ship with every teal in the galaxy on it? No, the Justitia is just the Legis Corpus flagship. We handle the general organization of the legal system, as well as the largest trials. There are dozens of lower-level ships that deal with much lower-stakes jobs, like contracts and high-blood property disputes. Not to mention the thousands of Enforcement Division legislaturators spread across the galaxy. Placement is all based off test scores. If Zizi and I hadn't placed so high, we might have had to... I don't want to think about the horrible could-have-beens. I'm just grateful we get to live out our ascension together.
About Tagora. You asked Elsa why she's been doing Tagora's paperwork for him. Isn't that his job?
He hates busy work so much. I just thought I could take some of it off his hands. I do get through it pretty quickly after all.
Well, she clearly didn't want to do it forever, right? Isn't that why she's asking him to take it back?
Well, yes, but you see, do you ever look at a person and think, I could really help him?
As a matter of fact, you do. That is a huge part of the whole friend compulsion shtick you've got going on. You didn't think that was normal, though.
Well, that's what I feel when I look at Tagora. He's so easily stressed out, and I know I could be there for him if he wants me to be. So, I take his extra paperwork when I have the time and energy. But I do not have the energy right now. Also, it does not seem fair for me to finish at the last of his work before he goes off the grid forever.
Aww. It looks like Salsa cares about Tagora a lot. Maybe you and Tezres could join him off the grid. If he can drop out everything and hide in space with Gallic, what's stopping you two?
Oh no! That's far too dangerous. The Justitia may be no paradise, but it's always safer to keep your head down and do the work assigned to you.
You notice Tezres is still a couple seats down, tapping and ignoring roommate's prides. You really want to find out what's up with her. Tell Salsa you'll be back in a minute.
Take your time!
You walk over to Tizra and give her a light tap on the shoulder. She jumps up nearly 2 feet in the air and immediately stashes her palm husk away.
What the fuck? Can't you see I'm busy?
You just want to talk. She seemed...
Of course I'm agitated. I was nearly shot earlier today. And now you won't stop bothering me while I'm trying to get important work done.
You ask how she's managing to get work done on the tiny transport shuttle without a husk top.
I'm just talking to some people.
Who is she talking to? Is it Daria? Can she say hi for you?
It's not Daria.
Tizra takes a deep breath and clutches the bridge of her nose.
Can we talk about this later? Sometime when we're not in such close quarters?
Okay, you get it. You still want to talk, though. You really haven't got much of a chance to catch up with her.
Alright, fine. What do you want to ask?
How's her job? Okay, she's a legislator, right? There's gotta be a legislator on the shift. You thought all TOs just grew up to be legislators, but apparently some aren't, and now you're even more confused about the troll legal system than you were before. Tezra laughs.
Yes, I'm a legislator. What made you think we all were?
You don't know. It's the only Troll League award you really remember being tossed around. You don't even understand the legal systems in there. You can't be expected to remember all the Atarian terms, too.
Honestly, I can barely keep them straight myself. Makes sense that Legislacerator is the only title you remember, though. For a while, we were all there was. Hundreds of sweeps ago, before the adults were sent off planet, Legislacerators did it all. We did the research, caught the criminals, presented the trial. We were an all-in-one law machine.
That sounds so much to handle at once. Glad Tessera isn't saddled with that kind of expectation.
Well, things were a whole lot less complicated before Alternian colonization really took off. For one, all trials were his honorable tyranny-based trials.
You took your head confused.
The giant monster trials. All you had to do was catch the criminal, say why they're guilty, and let the monster eat their head. Once we spread out into space, it got harder to make sure there were enough monsters spread across the galaxy, so Teal started to specialize in making interesting show trials in lieu of his honorable tyranny. That's when the showmasters became a thing, and with them came the auto-terrorizers to keep the logistics in check.
So does that mean Tessera catches criminals? Can't picture her being a cop, especially if she was allowed to choose a track.
Oh, of course not. I'm an investigative legislacerator. Around the beginning of colonization, it became pretty clear that some legislacerators were better at actually tracking down and catching the suspects, while others were better at collecting and presenting evidence. So, the branch split into the investigative division and the enforcement division, but both kept the title legislacerator because it was so historically recognizable.
So that means she's just like a detective and a lawyer wrapped into one. You ask if she's done any exciting trials where she's brought into some nasty criminals to justice.
Oh, I haven't actually presented any trials yet. I'm a neophyte, which means I'm basically a research assistant to one of the senior legislacerators. They're the ones that collect evidence on site and present the trial. I just comb the archives for anything that can make the troll on trial look even more guilty. It's not a bad deal, honestly. I get unrestricted access to the Empire's legal records, which is kind of a goldmine.
Goldmine? You ask why the legal records are so important. Tessera stiffens and side glances in Solo's direction.
It's nothing. They're just super useful for work.
Alright, you see pride too far, you decide to change the subjects. So how about Celsa? You're so lucky that Tessera got to stay with Celsa post-Ascension. You don't want to know where the two of them would be if they didn't have each other.
We almost were separated, actually. Our Ascension placement is completely based on our coolest bar test scores. We both aced the exam, of course, but Stelza's scores got mixed up with someone who didn't do so well.
Oh no, what happened to the troll who didn't do so well?
The ones who fail? Instantly cold. Thank fuck her scores were swapped with someone who just did okay. But for a couple weeks, we thought she was going to be stationed doing paperwork on a low-level fleet ship. We started to say our goodbyes and everything. It was...
Tessera takes a breath, shuddering at the memory.
If we had been separated, that would have been it. I probably would have deserted or something. The real test scores were found before we actually went off planet. I don't know how I would survive on the Eustitia without Stealth. She's really the only thing that keeps me grounded.
Aww, I'm really glad they have each other. Tessera looks over at Celsa and sighs lovingly. So, how about Daria? You know, Tessera hasn't seen Daria since its session, but you've gotten to know how she is. You need to know how the More Allegiance first began. Tessera looks a bit pissed off at your mention of Daria, but softens a bit once you ask about the start of the relationship.
After you introduced us, we started meeting at a cafe by the school feed pretty frequently. She was so angry, and I knew I could help her redirect that kind of anger toward the right things. Guess I saw her as a project at first. That's pretty fucking awful, not that I say it out loud. But it's kind of true. But pretty soon, it became clear that Daria was helping me too. I can get pretty overwhelmed when I look at the state of the Empire, but she helped me see past the smoke and actually get up and do something. She knows people. She might have been an angsty little shit, but she's really good with people. And she got me in contact with other trolls who had the same fire inside them. We started going to concerts together. We were even in a band for a bit.
Tessera can play music? Never would have guessed. What did she play?
Bass. Really bad bass. The whole thing was Daria's idea, and we only did a few gigs, but it was still fun. We were basically inseparable for like a week. I don't think there was a day where we made it official, not like there was with me and Stealth. We just started calling each other Moirail at some point because it just made sense. God, I miss her so much.
Oh, they sound like they're so close. You're so glad you introduced them to each other. It sucks that the Assumption had to separate them. sucks that Ascension separated her from her whole network of friends, it seems. Wait, these people... wait, these people Daria introduced Tezra wouldn't have to be the vet. Ow. Tezra gives you a sharp kick in the shins to shut you up, fiercely glancing at Salsa and mouthing later. Alright, shut up, jeez. You look over to your shoulder at Salsa, still sitting alone and minding her business. Tezra takes a peek and says,
I guess I should go back over there. Apologize for leaving so abruptly and all that.
Tezra moves back over to Salsa and lays her head on her shoulder. You smile. No matter what bullcrap either of them have going on, they always seem to have each other. The person I like the least, Tagora. Tezra and Snezzle look like they're still having a moment after the terror of the trial, so you go over to chat with your good friend Gorgor. You give him a little wave, and he looks up from filing his nails.
Bored already? You do know this is a 3-hour flight, right?
You do, you just want to chat a little.
Well, you know me. Every minute with me is another Kager in my pocket.
Oh man, can we not do this today? You just saved his butt from being shot by his Kismesis on the day of his hate wedding.
I kid. You can talk to me however long you want, free of charge. I owe you at least that much for convincing Gallic to leave that awful job of his. What did you want to ask?
So, Bob, I'm curious about his job since he's a showmaster. So what's like it being a legislator for real?
Legislacerator? You think I spend all day hunched over books doing research like Tizias?
Yes, don't all Tia buds train to be legislators?
Of course not. No, we all train to be in the legis corpus. Legislacerators are just one branch of the legal system. Well, more like one branch cleaved in two, but you get the point. I have nothing to do with that branch. Like I told you before, I'm a showmaster.
Showmaster? That doesn't sound very lawyery. More like a job you find in a theater.
Nothing is more theatrical than law. Trial development is all about putting on a good show. The kind of trial you just held with Gallic is kind of unheard of around here. In most cases, if you're put on trial, you'll be executed then and there.
Ouch, you're glad Gallic's ship wasn't an actual courtroom.
I would have been dead for sure. Trials tend to be reserved for the really big crimes. Things like high-level treason, murdering high-bloods, crimes in that vein. And yes, attempted assassination of a member of the Alternian Intelligence Service would be a trial offense.
Oh wow, so how would the actual legal system have done that trial?
Well, as a showmaster, I've thought a lot about how I would have designed my own trial/execution. The whole incident caused Gallic a ton of paranoia, right? Well, I would center the execution around paranoia. After the verdict, which takes 2 seconds and doesn't matter, I would put myself in a box made of one-way glass. The audience could see my reactions, but I can't see what's happening around me. Then, the sounds are funneled in. I wouldn't know what method of execution is planned, so every time I hear a sound, I'd be on edge. The growl of beasts, the sharpening of swords, the spark of flamethrowers. The audience would watch me squirm until they start getting bored, when finally they simply send someone in to slit my throat. Maybe a little more intentionally than the poor bastard in the airlock. You get the idea.
Holy crap, that's brutal. Planning these showy executions is what he does for a living? Is he okay with this?
Well, it's no ambulance chasing, but at least it's exciting. I'd never be able to do what Tizias or Stelsa do. Their jobs sound insufferable.
So why is he coming back? He's planning on leaving his job at the Legislator, right? Why is he bothering to come back to the Institutia?
1, not a legislacerator. 2, I wish I wasn't. Stelsa's making me come back and collect the paperwork she promised she'd do.
Is he in a group project or something?
Oh, definitely not. We're not even in the same department. Stelsa just sometimes offers to do the more obnoxious busy work I'm burdened with. To tell the truth, I'm not sure why she does it. Maybe she finds it fun or something. She says I look stressed when I have too much paperwork, so she takes it off my hands. Anyway, Even if it's technically my work, she promised she'd do it. And now she's going back on that promise. So I have to go back and collect what I gave her.
I wonder why Sasha would offer to take up on that extra burden in the first place. Either way, if it's a matter of being stressed, Sasha probably is pretty stressed after the trial, right? You tell Tagore he probably should give her a break for once, especially since it's not even her work.
I guess. It's an inconvenience, but it's not one I can't handle.
So about the ship. Take a look around the ship you're on. Plush sheets, complimentary beverages, a load gapper. It's like you're flying first class here. You asked Tagore why Gallic just happened to have a first-class transport ship lying around in the space yacht.
Are you hearing what you're saying? Of course he has top-quality transport ships to go with his top-quality space yacht. What, do you think they pay him pennies over an AIS?
You see Tagore's face fall.
Pennies that he won't be making soon enough.
Tagore takes a moment to think about something. He's looking visibly distressed. You prod him a bit, hoping you can calm him a bit.
I may have miscalculated when I agreed to go off the grid with Gallic. Even if Legis Corpus is worse than I anticipated, I have become accustomed to a certain standard of living. A standard of living that has been partially subsidized by my cosmesis. I'm going to have to put twice as much into my side hustles. Maybe I can start selling my burner house to Tizis' rebel contacts. I know she has them. She's not subtle about it.
Whoa, slow down with the whole girl boss shtick. Gallic's always been loaded, right? Even on Monterey, he has that huge jerk-off book hive. The money had had to come from somewhere.
Yes. But that can't last forever. I'll just find another way. I wonder if there's anyone I can swindle on the new Stisha before I leave for good.
Tagore starts staring off into space and tapping his chin. Head clearly in the money zone. You probably won't be able to snap him out of this one. You tell Tagore you're gonna explore the ship a bit, see what fun surprises Gallic may have built into it.
I guarantee you there are no surprises, but have fun, I suppose.
He nonchalantly takes his nail file out and goes back to grinding his claws, so a fine point as you step away. Let's see here, Trixie. So luckily I get to create for a living. I'm so lucky I get to create for a living. It's such a privilege. They'll tell you that things are normal, that everything is fine, the liars, the fire roars larger every single day. This is the sound of the future. The ship sounds like it's named by some violet person. After a surprisingly long journey, you hear a beep and an automated message. The shuttle will be landing at the Institutia in 5 minutes. Please, do not leave your seats. You peer out the window by your seat and watch as the spacecraft pulls up to an enormous spaceship, large enough to hold an entire civilization. If you hold your head at just the right angle, you can see the shadow of Anturnia looming behind the edge of the Titunia. You made it! The rest of your friends are in reach. The shuttle pulls into a port, and you see your first glimpse at the interior of the Institunia. The walls are the standard Eternia purple you're familiar with, embellished with teal cyberpunky decorations. Yep, this is definitely a teal ship.
Well, here we are.
Home at last! Oh, I can't wait to hop in the shower when we get to the apartment block.
God, I know.
Hey, Gallic gave you the best wedding accommodations you two will probably ever live to see, and that lack of a shower saved your ass.
I know. Come on, let's go home.
The three of you lead you down a series of labyrinth hallways, just row after row of huge windows staring into space, and mysterious unlabeled doors that could lead to anywhere. You have no idea how they navigated anywhere in this place. It's like a haunted college English department had a baby with a robotic corn maze.
You're probably going to want to stick by us as long as you're here.
Yeah, I definitely plan to. So you don't get lost forever?
Lost? What are you talking about? This is one of the easiest ships to navigate. No, it's because you're a callable offense.
But you thought Gallic took you off the call list.
Just because the Empire isn't actively looking for you doesn't mean they won't feed you to the beast the second someone notices a strange, pasty white alien on an authorized Legis Corpus ship.
You go up and put down your hood, pulling the strings tight. You normally fall back on your innate friendship magnetism if you ever got into a situation like that, but you remember that was all a lie. You're not under any Scratcher's manipulation spell anymore, and you're all out of powers. The four of you stop at a pair of identical doors, one with Tagora's symbol on the door and the other with Tuzuras's and Celsa side by side.
Well, it was an honor. I hope you two like drowning in busywork for the rest of your lives.
Tagora slips into his apartment with a dramatic flourish and slams the door behind him. Tizra sighs and unlocks her own apartment door. You step inside and wow, it's surprisingly huge.
Isn't it lovely? Zizi and I were so lucky to have gotten one of the quadrant suites.
Let's see here, 2 more things. So some people are just perpetually ungrateful. You got something to say, Sargor? The place really does look like a home. You step inside to take a better look around. As Tizra tosses her stuff on the couch, or lounge plank, one day you'll make a dictionary of all the troll words you should memorize by now. Celsa starts to take off her shoes, jumping up when she catches a glimpse at the calendar.
Zizi? Is it really the 24th of 8th perigee?
Yep. Why'd you ask?
I can't believe I forgot. I'll be right back.
Celsa bolts into the back room and comes out with a small candle in a glass container and a black leather-bound book with her symbol on the cover. You ask her what she's doing with all that.
Oh, this is a yahrzeit candle. You burn it for a full day cycle on the anniversary of a loved one's death, to honor and to remember them. My Lucis passed 3 sweeps ago today.
Oh no, you're sorry to hear that. Celsa opens the book and points out an illustrated page.
I was supposed to light the candle at sunup, but with the wedding and trial and everything, it just slipped my mind. I'm sure that's fine, though. It's not like night and day mean much in space, anyway.
Celsa lights the candle and stares into the flame.
I miss you every day.
Take a peek at the open journal page and wow, this is gorgeous. This is one of those fancy aesthetic bullet journals, isn't it?
It certainly is. I didn't make it, though. It belonged to my ancestor. Tyrona gave it to me shortly before I ascended. She found it in the contraband locker of all places. Isn't that crazy?
The contraband locker at their law school? That's a little weird if you ask. We ask if you can take a peek.
I hate to interrupt your catch-up session, but it looks like our favorite show is on.
And Celsa, of course, let me show you some of mine, which I'm actually going to slow this down a little bit. Favorite show? I'm trying to ask, but Tezra puts a finger on her lips. Very faintly, though. Through the walls, you hear what sounds like Tagora screaming to himself. Tezra runs to the wall and presses the ear against it, while Celsa shakes her head in disapproval.
Zizi, that's awful!
What can I say? He's fucking hilarious when he gets mad.
You get closer to the wall, not pressing yourself against it like Tizra, but close enough to make out the words.
How dare you? I'm your husband. How could you do this to me? And right before our honeymoon, no less.
Tizra has a crap-eating grin on her face, barely stifling laughter. Celsa is still across the room, but you can tell she's curious.
Come on, you know you want to hear this juicy shit. It sounds like Gallic is cutting him off financially or something.
No, not the coffee. Anything but the coffee.
Oh, fine.
Celsa presses her ear against the wall next to Tizra. The two of them hearing chuckles as Takora continues her rants. After a while, Celsa's face falls. She pulls away from the wall and heads toward the door.
Where are you going?
I'm just gonna check on him really quick.
You know he's gonna be fine. He gets in a phone fight like twice a week.
I just want to make sure.
She wants to be more out with him. Celsa bolts out the door. Tezra walks away from the wall and plops down on the couch.
I'm gonna miss that little shit when he's gone. Not as much as Stealth will, though. That pale crush she's got is intense.
Oh, she wants to be more else with him. That explains the paperwork thing.
Yep. It's honestly kinda cute.
Tezra sighs and scrolls through her palmas.
Sorry about shutting down your plan back there. I know Stelsa is interested in leaving. She might even be interested enough to leave me behind. And as much as I'd love to live in your utopic locked timeline with her, you know why I can't do that. But I can't let you take her from me either. So the best thing I can do is try to make her forget about it.
You say nothing. You know you can't separate them, but it's not right for a Tezzeret to force Celsus to stay miserable like a corpus like that. Tezzeret' palm husk buzzes and she shoots up.
Oh shit, I gotta go.
She pauses for a moment and looks you
Hey,
over.
wanna come see what's so important that I can't go with you?
Tezzeret walks toward the door and gestures for you to follow. Oh, heck yeah! Revolution activity time. You bolt off the couch and follow her out the door. You follow Tezzeret through yet another series of labyrinth hallways. After walking past and you think it must be the residential section, you take a left at the water.
I'm gonna need you to keep quiet while we do this, okay?
Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna pull up with my phone as we go through these hallways. I'm going to be supportive, going to be understanding, and not publicly criticize High Blood for his many obvious flaws. Let's see here. Well, if you thought this was composed about you, then. Let's see here. One of the Emperor's names going on here. We can discuss this at a later time, but my point stands, we cannot afford our previous lifestyle. Maybe you can't. Yes, as a previously issued a hand, I'm glad we could come to an understanding. I hate you.
It's still pretty early, so no one's out yet, but if we wake someone up and they see you, we're both gonna be in deep shit.
Understood. The two of you reach a huge row of windows, and Tezzeret gestures for you to follow her to the right. Wow, you knew spaceships were vast, but seeing it just these enormous windows really puts into perspective how tiny you are. The two of you come up to a portrait of an important-looking teal-blood next to the door. Plaque under the important portrait reads, Head Legislator Tenine Lashy.
That's the head's office. We do not want to run into her. Fuck, I don't want to run into her when I'm doing my job.
She ushers you to the right, walking a little faster than before. One more turn left, and she stops at the front of the first door. Tezzeret opens the door and drags you inside. Once the lights flicker on, you see you're in a pretty normal-looking supply closet.
My place of operation. It's the only room in the entire ship that isn't bugged to hell and back. I paid Tagora to take out the security camera for me. He climbed up onto the top shelf and accidentally kicked the camera while trying to reach something high up.
Tezzeret pulls her palm husk and starts typing.
Now, we have to keep this quick. The longer we spend in here, the better chance that we'll get caught.
You nod. Tezzeret's palm husk starts to buzz, and she opens up the video call.
Has the fire been stoked?
The flames are getting larger as we speak.
You got the list? How long is it this time?
Pretty long. Another one of our operations got busted. A ton of low-blood bystanders got caught in the crossfire. Anyone who survived got put on the cull list.
Wait a minute, you recognize that voice, is that? You crane your neck to take a peek at Tezzeret's phone and, oh my god, it is!
Robo Buddy?
Malik, it's actually him. He practically snatched the phone from Tezzeret, much to her displeasure.
I never thought I'd see you again. Are you okay? When did you get back?
You start to tell Maverick about your adventures, barely holding back tears as you teach.
I'm so glad you're back. I knew you didn't forget about us.
I love Maverick. Maverick's amazing. How could you forget about him? You wear it so every day.
Hold on. What's your new husk number? Let me tap you into the secure network.
Just as you're about to tell Maverick, Tezzeret snatches her palm husk back.
Hate to break up the reunion, but we're kinda on a time limit here. Do you have the names?
Oh, right. Sorry about that.
Tezzeret pulls a small notepad out of her pocket and begins writing a list of names that Malik rattles off. Most of them are complete strangers to you, but your ears poke up to the names Tagori Caliber and Polypa Gozi.
Them again?
What can I say? They do a lot.
And get caught a lot.
Tezzeret sighs and writes down the rest of the names.
Please be careful on the next mission. This is the second list you've given me this week.
Hey, I don't like it any more than you do. The Empire pulls its shit whether we want it to or not.
I know.
Do we still have a minute, or do you have to leave? I gotta get RoboBuddy into the network. I don't want to lose contact with him again.
Yeah, sure, whatever. I'll give you two a moment.
You make grabby hand to Tezzeret as she hands you Malik again. The two of you exchange info, and Malik tells you all about the rebel Twitter feed that he tells you should keep an eye on. You're so glad you found him again. You miss all of your friends while you're on the other timeline, but you especially miss him. Once the two of you wrap your reading up, Tizera takes the palm husk back to channel.
I'll text you the signal once the records are gone.
Okay, with notifications. Stelsa, be sportive, even if those flaws are glaring numbers, and make you question your frenzy choice and kisses. I'm here to be sportive, not just as a morally, but as a potential friend. And is there a map? Okay, no, there's not a second map. Oh, there's more updating news right here. So, trending in economics, import coffee prices surge to terrorist attacks on colony words, trending politics, high imperative to address high blood assembly tomorrow. And trending in military, fleet steps up deployment of light cruisers in response to increasing rebel violence.
Of course. Stoke that fire.
And with that, the call ends. Tizera puts a palm husk back in her pocket and starts to the door. So this is what the revolution does?
It's what I do for the revolution. Every week or so, Mallet gets me a list of names of people who need to get off the cull lists, and I go into the records while I'm doing work research and erase the paper trail. I'm the only one on the inside, so it's up to me to make sure nobody in the rebellion stays on the cull lists. If they stay on and a drone so much as catches a glimpse of them, they're dead.
That does sound pretty important. I'm glad she's doing something to make a difference. The two of you walk back to the apartment in silence. You don't know if it just light, but the dark circles under Tizera's eyes look more pronounced than before. You ask if she's doing okay, and she gives you a confused look.
Why wouldn't I be okay?
She just looks kind of strange. You're guessing the trial took a lot out of her.
Yeah, that makes sense. I probably just need to lie down for once.
The two of you enter the apartment and find Celsa at the dining room table, flipping through her journal.
I was wondering where you two had gone.
I was just giving our friend a tour of the Eustitia.
That sounds fun. Good thing it's after hours, too. Wouldn't want them to get caught.
Can you keep them entertained for a bit? I need a nap.
Of course, of course.
Damn, they're talking about you like you're your kid, and they like you're their kid they need to watch over. Not like you have an excellent track record of not causing trouble, but still.
So, are you still interested in taking a look at my journal?
Oh, heck yeah. You're always down to learn about your friend's family lore. Celsa ushers you over to the couch and flips the book open to its first page.
This is the bullet journal of my ancestor, Stenya Sazia. She was alive right around the time of the start of colonization. But before ascension was made mandatory, she was one of the first order terrorizers. Makes sense too. Just look at how organized this journal is. I hadn't even gotten the journal yet when I chose my path of study. I must just have some generational memory that drew me to that kind of organization.
Wow, so this ancestor was able to do all the work auto-terrorizing on top of creating grieving rituals? That's impressive.
Oh, no. Stenya didn't create the outside candle. That's just a Jewish tradition.
Celsa flips to a tabled section on the journal and shows you a few pages. Shows up Judaism too? You had no idea.
Looks like there's more similarities between our worlds than I thought.
You have some Jewish friends back in the locked timeline. You've got to get to introduce Celsa to Rose and Roxy when you get back. That is, if Celsa wants to come, of course.
I would love to come and meet your friends. But you know I can't leave Zizi like that. I'd also love to connect with other Jewish people. I haven't managed to find any information or communities online. According to Stenya's journal, she had a large Jewish community she was a part of, including trolls of all different castes. But those don't really exist anymore. Well, they probably do, but they must be very far underground. It seems like we were pretty heavily persecuted throughout the sweeps.
Well, that's another similarity to Earth Judaism.
But at least Stenya's journal is very thorough. I get to study where I come from with full illustrated guides.
Celsa flips through another few pages. Some of the other pictures of food in them, others have illustrations of stories, a couple have what looks like sheet music.
I wish I could figure out what these ones mean. I've tried to ask Zizi for help since she used to play music, but she never actually learned how to read it.
You know, some people you're sure you could read music. You can look up salsa if you wanted it.
No, I'd rather keep this to myself for now.
Fair enough. The two of you flip through the journal a bit more when you hear a knock at the door. Salsa opens it, revealing an incredibly disheveled Tagora, his eyeliner running down his face and his palm husk in a death grip in his hands.
Oh my goodness! Gorgo, what happened?
He's cutting me off. No thanks to you.
Tagora spits that last bit in your direction.
I told you I had something to worry about. Now how am I going to afford anything?
It'll be okay. Come on, we can work this out.
Salsa ushers Tagora out the door and leaves you alone in the living room. Well, you guess you're gonna chill by yourself for now. It's so hard to chill when you know you have a mission. How can you relax when you know that Salsa and Tezia need to make a choice so they can be saved? Though now that you think about it, it's not much of a choice. Salsa wants to come with you. Salsa needs to come with you if she's going to be happy. Earth has safety, a juice community, everything Salsa could possibly want. Everything except Tezia's. You can't split them up, not after all they've gone through to stay together. You wonder if there's any self of hope that might be able to convince Tezia to leave the revolution. There are plenty of causes on Earth that she could fight for, and there's no way she'd be that indispensable to the evolution, right? But you doubt you could convince her. Tezia has a one-track mind when it comes to breaking the system, and no amount of friend persuasion is going to change that. Though, maybe you don't have to be a friend to persuade her. Malik seems like he's pretty high up in this rebellion. You bet anything if you told Tezra to leave the cause for her own sake, she'll have to listen. You plop down on the couch and start scrolling through your palm to find his contact. Oh, right, you can't call him from here. You have to get to that private closet if you want to talk to him safely. Just as you're about to get up, you feel a hard sensation against your leg. Salsa's ancestor bullet journal had slid down from the cushion next to you, and holy heck, you want to snip it through it so bad. You should really go ahead and contact Malik, but one peek won't hurt, right? And before this choice, I'm actually going to save it here, and actually head back to the main menu. So, and with that, I hope you guys have a good day, night, week, month of your lives. And may the stars forever guide your path wherever that might lead you into the future. Goodbye, everyone.